Ah, well, well.
Look,
Ladies and
Hamada,
gentlemen, we got
I got a
Bossman.
lot to say.
We got Bossman Tokes, who clearly has a lot to get off in his chest. I mean, we've had a week. I've had a week to grind the all 22, sit in the lab,
Yeah,
watch
you
the
needed
film.
to
I needed to. No, no.
after your
I
takes.
wanted to because I strive for greatness on this show. If confidence was currency, I'd be a billionaire and I'd owe taxes on those. And I'm ready to give my coaching analysis on this show tonight. It's Friday. I know we usually do it on Tuesday. I'll give you guys this. It's been hard because Mr. Bossman Tokes here is in dental school and it's tough on him right now. He has clinicals every almost every day. So sometimes you got to do a rain check every now and then, Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday. But now it's Friday night. That's why it's called nightcap for a reason. And
I'm ready
so,
to unleash and unload, Hamada.
what do you got to say before we start?
Well, we'll let the people trickle in, but look,
That's
I
my favorite
spent
saying.
all
That's my
week.
favorite saying.
Look, just because I was at school from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. all week doesn't mean I didn't have time to sit down and watch all the film and get ready for the playoff weekend. So just because you guys think I'm at school doesn't mean I'm doing schoolwork. I'm in there grinding the all 22 harder than Hamada. I'm in there watching every snap. I'm in there watching every hike, every play, every movement, every route, just so I can come in here and analyze and take him down. Because we all know Tokes is undefeated on Nightcap, just
Listen,
like how we've been undefeated since I got healthy.
Latokes, you got to listen up. I may be a little under the weather if you guys can't hear me, but I'm still here to rain on your parade, and I'm going to give my analysis on your team, a team that, that's on upset alert, that's on fraud check alert, but we'll talk about that a little later. I might surprise some people with my pick later tonight, but, I want the fans to I want some built up energy to, exceed and I'm ready to rain on your parade tonight. But if we want to go get started, I'm thinking of what we should talk about first. What deserves to be talked about first on the playoff edition of Nightcap this week? And I'm sorry. I know we want to get started on your team, but I think your team this week deserves the B block. I think we got to focus on you know who.
Do you expect an old Sudani or an old Sudani this weekend? Hmm. Well, first of all, you got it typed up wrong. It's supposed to be, do you expect the old Sudani or an old Sudani? First of
I
all, you
think
just put the same
I
thing.
think everyone knows what I mean by this.
Listen, look, I'm giving Omar the benefit of the doubt. He played against an all-time defense. When you've got the likes of Big O, Tokes, Azuz, Idris, Yusuf Q, when the Hussam, when you've got all these guys back there on defense, yeah, you're not gonna perform well. Look, we just went out there. We had a phenomenal game plan. We shut down Mu'minin. Look, Musa had one catch. I think Yanal had like two catches. Awad had a couple catches. He beat us on a deep touchdown. But really, other than that, we just had Omar hemmed in and we were making reads. But look, this weekend, we all know in playoff weekend, Sudani shows up. Now I know last year he lost in the first round for the first time in his career. First time ever. Now listen, listen, listen. Even a blind nut finds a squirrel here and there. So even the hands of time get turned backwards here and there, Hamada. You can't expect him to win every single playoff game. But listen, per my sources, I went deep into the rabbit hole this week, and I've heard Donish is out this week. Donish is out. But they do get the return of Big Mo Allen. Big Mo Allen has shut down street culture just so he can pull up. And look, when Mo Allen is there, I think the team is different. but Donish will be a big miss because Donish, in my opinion, is pound for pound one of the best safeties in the league. But I expect Omar to do a lot of running this week. What's Omar's best trait is getting out of the
Mm.
pocket and taking off. But I will say they're playing the most feared rushers in the league. This is going to be a tough game for Omar. You've got Idris, aka Aaron Donald, and you've
Wait,
got Suhaib,
what?
aka
Oh.
Suhaib, aka I don't know what. If Suhaib is there on time, and we know Idris is going to be there, look, I think it's going to be a low scoring game first and foremost. But I do think Omar pulls it off just because he has that playoff experience. All right. So I think we're going to see the old Sudani, not an old Sudani, because if we see an old Sudani, there might be different takes heading into next season, and I'm not ready for all of that. What do you have to say about that, Hamada?
Okay, that was a lot of things you said. A lot of wrong things. First things first, saying that he's a playoff performer, even though you mentioned that last year he went out in the first round. Two, the so-called Mickey quarterback, Ahmed Egypt. Okay, check. And it is good to mention. It's funny you didn't mention it. No Ben. I know what you guys may think. No Ben. Oh, he does. No, it's easy to lose. But there seems to be a common occurrence going on here. No Ben out in the first round. No AJ. He looks washed. This man is a product of his receivers. I'm so
Don't
I'm
do
sorry to
that.
say it. Last week, what I saw, I stayed for 3 and 3/4 quarters of that game. I pretty much watched the whole game. And so then his legs. So did someone chop him off? Is he on crutches? Because he's making absolutely zero impact with his legs, which is absolutely sorry to see. Because this helps prove my point. The first thing that goes to an old quarterback is their legs. Aaron Rodgers is 41 going on 42. Tom Brady was 45 still winning Super Bowls because he still had the arm. But the first thing that goes Tokes is their legs. And we're starting to see what used to be Lamarvelous Jackson Sudani. He's starting to look like a Jared Goff, someone who has to stand in the pocket, pat the ball to look for an open receiver, and there's no AJ and there's no Ben down deep in the end zone to bail them out. So there's that. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on here because he has Musa, this guy that we put on a pedestal, and he's after week 3, the man's been non-existent. I don't know what happened. Like he's played so good through from weeks 1 to 3 that he built up such a lead in the Rookie of the Year race that he's still confirmed to win it. But these last 3 weeks, someone put an APB out for him. Someone call the cops. Stop the presses. I don't know where this man's been at. Someone call the cops. Put a missing persons report. Put it on your mailboxes. Put it on your house because we need to figure out where this guy is. And next, I know I heard you say no Donish, and he finally gets Alan back. But last week he had Donish, he had Yanel, he had Musa, he had Bax, he had everyone, and he barely managed to put up 14 points. I don't know if he got to 22 or not. He probably did, but it was seven of those points was a pick six by Yanel. We gotta say too. And speaking of Yanel, I mean he had one good play, but you gotta wash Yanel. You gotta wash Sudani. You got an Awad who, other than like one of the weeks, he hasn't made a difference. Musa after week 3 has fallen off a cliff. I'm sorry. This week, I'm taking Galleria Guardians. That
No,
defense,
no,
no, you
you're
know
not.
it, and I know it. That defense is gonna strangle Sudani, have him in tears, have him in the end zone. I'm predicting it right now. Sohaib Idris, 2 safeties are coming. Because last week we saw it. All Idris was on your team that week, which it shouldn't have been. But Idris came on that team, and Sudani had 2 safeties. The man, he has zero awareness. I don't know, like it's like his IQ went out the window. His talent went out the window. His legs went out the window. Like, I'm sorry, like Galleria Guardians, they're coming off a dub. They're going like this and coming in the playoffs. And Sudani's going like this. I'm taking the hotter team. I'm taking the hotter defense. I'm taking the defensive player of the year. I'm taking the best rushers in the league. And I'm taking Galleria Guardians to get this dub. I don't even know if it's an upset now, but my proclamation, which I made in week 1 about Sudani being washed, is coming to be true. And this week, I'm going to be proven right. And Tokes, you got anything else to say about this?
Look, I think what we can all say is Omar is a playoff performer. I expect Omar to look like the old Omar, like he does every season. Look, last year there was a little blip in the radar, but listen, it is going to be a tough game. I'm saying this now. I think it's going to be a very defensive game. This might be one of those games where the final score is 14-7 or something like that, or 10 to like 8, something like that.
Lenny, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, you only predict him to score 14 points?
Look,
Is that what
we're
you're
talking
saying,
about
folks?
we're talking about a generational defense. AJ is going to win defensive
Mm,
player of the year. The
mm.
two best rushers in the league are on that team. Noah is one of the best linebackers in the team. Like obviously they're facing one of the
I didn't even
best.
mention Yazin al Bedawi.
No,
That team is stacked.
no need to mention Yezen. The only thing Yezen's done this season is give Amir water and just sit on the bench and make sure the bench is warm when AJ needs to take a breather. Because other than that, the only thing Yezen is out there for is just making sure he gets his cardio in because Yezen's a non-factor on that team. But let's not get into that. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think Sudani in a close game. I trust Sudani. We all know a close game, Sudani's going to find somehow, some way, a chance with the ball in his hands to win the game. And 9 times out of 10, Omar pulls it off. So I'm going with Mu'minin to go to the semis.
Yeah, we'll see who's right next week.
Oh,
Tokes, I'm ready to unleash and unload on this topic, but I want you to go first because you've been propping up Big O like he's the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. You've been propping up Yusuf Ghoreini like he's the second coming of Chris Jones. And you've been propping
look,
up yourself
let
like you're
me
the second coming
speak.
of Jackson Smith and Jigba. Go, take it off, Tokes. Take it away.
Who
And don't
wins on
get
Sunday?
emotional because I want to unleash it. I want to unload on this topic.
Who wins on Sunday? Big O or playoff Ad? Listen, you're the same guy who just told me you're taking the hotter team in the previous matchup, right? So, who's the hottest team going into the playoffs right now? Hmm. Who's the team that's on a 3-game winning streak and their quarterback just won back to back player of the weeks? Oh, no other player has done that. Big O has 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions in the last 2 games, winning by blowout margins. Now, what's the difference here? So we were able to win a game without Azuz. We were able to win a game without
Mm,
Nadeem.
mm.
Tokes is healthy, and now the entire roster is making an appearance for playoff Sunday for the first time this season. We will not be missing anybody. Now, yes, I know about playoff Ide. Listen, playoff Ide is one of the most dangerous men on the planet. Look, when I see playoff Ide, look, I'm not even gonna lie, my knees tremble and shake a bit because look, he took down Sudani, he took down Doomy, and he came one touchdown away from beating the great Hazem Tariq on a team filled with A-list Hall of Famers. All right. Now, this isn't a pushover game, so I'm not gonna sit up here and say just because they're 0-6.
Mm,
Look, records don't matter anymore.
mm.
It's playoff odds a real thing now. With all that being said, I'm taking Big O to go 4 for 4 in these last 4 weeks and win in his playoff debut and make it to the semifinals with a trip against Doomy to go to the finals. Now, listen, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. This is going to be a big game. Id has his entire roster, Big O has his entire roster. We might get the first ever overtime game this season because this game is going to go down to the wire, and whichever team makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win this game. And Big O hasn't been making many mistakes last week. In fact, Big O has been throwing it all over the yard, making it look like he's playing Madden in real life because Big O, in my opinion, is an MVP candidate, but that's a story for another day because he leads the league in total touchdowns. All right. Now, I want to hear what you have to say because I'm ready to unleash and unload because you know there's only one right answer, Hamada, and I better hear it.
It's my turn. Now, Tokes, before we started this segment, I made a player rankings. I set every player on Habiba Elite side by side, and I compared them to every player on Halal Hustlers. And this is how I came up with the decision to who I'm picking. Maybe. So you got Big O or Ad. Big O, right? You got Azuz or you got Amin. I want to call that a wash, but Amin's kind of old. He missed last week. I don't know how he's feeling. So I'm gonna say Azuz. You got Tokir or Zaid. Zaid seems like to be the biggest bust in MFL history coming into the second round. He's ate one too many McChickens. He looks he's a happy meal of eating himself out of the league. Tokir or Zaid, Tokes. So we're 3-0 so far. Nadim or Ammar, if we're claiming Ammar is the fourth best player on that team, or Nadim Fallah.
Falah. I
Nadim.
think Falah.
I think it's Nadim and it's not even close. You got Yusuf Q or any of the plumber rushers on Halal Hustlers, Yusuf Q.
Look, I know what you're
You got
doing.
Yanal Rahami or any other corner on Halal Hustlers. You got Yanal check. Fadi or any other player on Halal Hustlers, check. You're 10 for 10 on player. There's not a single player on Halal Hustlers that is better than a single player on
I know
Halal.
what you're trying to do. You're trying to prop it up to make it
Prop
look
it up.
like
I think you're the one trying to prop up playoff ad. Tokes is the only person in MFL that has coined playoff ad and that's coined the term playoff ad because he wants to make it seem that is if he loses to Ad Stonehands, the 0-12 guy in the regular season, if he loses to him, he doesn't want me to come on here and unleash and unload. He wants to be protected. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming on here and I'm not gonna let him do that. This team is almost it's the biggest discrepancy in talent in MFL history. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it, Tokes. So if you don't come out on Sunday and beat this team 30-0, I'll be fair. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Obviously, I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but you gotta come out here and it has to be a blow. It has to be at least 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter. It has to be a 2-score lead, and maybe they can come back get some Mickey Mouse touchdowns, and then. But this has to be a comfortable win heading into the semifinals because I'm sorry, as much as I want to, I love Aid. I want him to go out there and perform. I want him to go out there and shut you up, shut Azuz up, shut up Big O. We all know it's Small O, but I want him to shut him up because we all know that the only reason Aid won a playoff game against us last year is because he had Big O rushing. But I hope you guys don't do that again, or else you're gonna take away you're gonna strip him from his gas tank, and he's not gonna be able to do much at quarterback. So if you're smart, you're not gonna let him rush every day play. If you're smart, you won't let
look,
him do that.
look, I will say
Let's
this.
not be dumb enough to do that.
Per
But
sources, Big O will rush, but Big
oh,
O won't rush every play, only on the crucial downs. Look, Big O in the playoffs is more like Aaron Donald because in the playoffs, Big O turns it up a notch, especially defensively. And we're already talking about Habibi Elite being a top 3 defense this league, and they're not number 3 or number 2. I'll tell you that right now. And we've got Nadim coming back. Nadim took a week off to get rejuvenated. Naeem took a week off to heal. Yusuf Q took a week off to heal. El Yusuf took a week off to heal. Everyone's back.
forgot
Fadi
about
came
you.
back from
You're a good
injury.
player.
But look, I'm not overlooking either. It's playoffs now. So anything can happen in the playoffs, Hamada. Look, I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to have an escape route or anything like that. I'm just giving you the facts, Hamada. Look, Ayed is what? He has 2 playoff wins, and he almost won a championship. So I don't want to put it past the guy. You don't know what can happen on wild card week. We always see every year, there's always an upset. So just keep that in mind.
Tokes, I'm sorry, but this is gonna be a blowout. And if you don't come out there and perform, you're 3-0. You're the hottest team in the league right now. You might be 4-0 going to the semifinals, and you're probably one of the most dangerous teams in the league. If you lose to Aed 0-6, Stone Hands Abu Hamda, you won't hear the end of it from me. You're gonna dread the day we gotta come on nightcap coming off an L to Halal Hustlers. You might as well call in rain check. Call in sick. Call in. You got to go to a funeral. It's gonna be your funeral because I'm gonna come out here and unleash and unload on you. So don't let that happen.
So
All right.
what if we go? So what if
I
we're
believe
4-0? What if we're on a 4-game winning streak heading into the chip? What will I hear from you then?
we'll talk about that later.
Got him, guys. Oh, which team from Wild Card Weekend has the best chance to win it all? Come on. Okay, let's stack up all four teams, Hamada. Halal Hustlers, Galleria, Mu'minin, and Habibi. I take a look at Galleria. What's their weakness? You can say the quarterback. I look at Halal Hustlers. What's the weakness? You can say their quarterback. I look at Mu'minin. What's their weakness?
Their quarterback.
Lately, it's been the quarterback, right? I look at Habibi. What's their weakness? I can't point to one. So, Habibi Elite, over the last 3 weeks, they've scored a total of 88 points. And they've allowed 28 points. And keep in mind, one of those was a pick six. So technically, they've allowed 22 points in 3 weeks while scoring over 80 points. And they have the second highest point differential in the league. And you've got a quarterback who might be the hottest quarterback in the league going into the playoffs. A guy who 4 weeks ago wasn't even anywhere top of the leaderboards. You fast forward 3 weeks, and he's number one in total touchdowns. You've got Azuz, who's been making plays week in and week out. You've got Tokes, who's number 2 in the league in touchdowns. You've got Nadim, who's top 5 in picks. Yusuf Q, top 3 in sacks. I look at this question and I look at it like it's a slap in the face because we all know the team who has the best chance to win it all is Habibi Elite, and that's without a doubt, unequivocally, a no-brainer, Hamada. So I want to hear what you have to say.
Tokes, you know how I compared the top 10 players on Halal Hustlers and Habibi Elite side by side, and gave you the top 10 players. I'm gonna do the same with the two teams I believe have the best chance. And it's not Mu'minin, it's not Halal Hustlers, it's Habibi Elite, and it's Galleria Guardians. So we got Big O, we got Amir. 2 rookie quarterbacks, 2 experiments. I believe the same record. Am I correct? Fact check.
Yeah,
Same
but
record.
we beat them head to head. We held them to 0.
Head to head. No,
Only
no,
shutout in
no,
MFL this season.
no, Yazan. But you beat them. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, just based off what I've seen, what the eye test has shown me, I'm gonna go with Big O. So it's 1-0, Tokes. Now here's where it falls off. We got AJ, we got Azuz. I think that's about crystal clear. I know we go there. We go AJ there. We got Tokes. We got Nuh. Pretty clear it's been Nuh this season. We got KJ
It's been
Smith.
me.
We got Nadim. Based off meritocracy, based off past history, but I'm going based off talent. It's pretty clear it's KJ Smith. Then we got Yezen, or we got Abdul Yusuf. Pretty clear it's Yezen, right? I'm 6th rounder, 4th rounder, so I'm gonna say Yezen. Now the rushers, not even close. Idris and Sohaib, or Bego, Yusuf Q, Naeem. So other than the quarterback, the next 9 players go to Galleria Guardians. But, Tokes, what do they call me?
Hamada,
What do they
they
call
call
me?
you
Mr.
Mr. Consistency.
Consistency. What do I usually say? You go as far as the quarterback goes. And as far as I'm concerned, I can't see Amir taking this offense very far. but I can see this defense leading the way. And that's why I think Galleria Guardians has the best chance to make it to the chip.
Look,
To the
look.
chip.
Let me tell you
My
something,
turn. I'm
Hamada.
not done yet. Now, this is a very hesitant pick. This isn't a clear cut, dry pick, even though I just ranked off the top 10 players and 9 out of 10 of them went to Galleria Guardians. You go as far as the quarterback takes you, but MFL, I've said this many times, all you need is a little bit of talent. And Galleria Guns got a whole lot of talent. They got more talent than one can count. And if this defense, which is, I believe, the best defense in the league, one of the best defense I've seen in the past 5 years, if this defense cannot put their if can just put their offense on short fields, get some picks off Big O. And if Amir doesn't turn the ball over once, this team is going to the chip. If Amir does not have turnovers, they will go to the chip and they won't
Now,
carry the way like the 82 Bears, like the 86 Steelers, like the 90 like the freaking Ray Lewis Ravens. This team
see,
is taken far.
let me
But
tell you something, Hamada. All
what?
all of that sounds very smart, right? You
It
sound
does.
like you know what you're talking about. But here's where you messed up. Galleria and Habibi mathematically cannot play each other because of the ranks, the seedings. If Galleria were to beat Mu'minin, they would go on to play your team in the semifinal. All right? And we would go on to play Doomy. So you're telling me that one of the best defenses in the league, which is Galleria, would play you guys, a team who has the most turnovers in the league. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I can see Galleria Guardians making it to the final because they will easily knock off Halal Sprite. And you just said this is the best defense you've seen in 5 years. And what is Omar Egypt prone to doing? Turning the ball over, giving the opponents short fields. That plays right into Galleria Guardians' hands. All Amir would have to do is be a game manager, not a game changer. So I just caught you up on that, Hamada. You thought you knew what you were talking about, but I just flipped it just like that.
Who said that I'm predicting Galleria Guardians to verse us? Ads could still beat you, and we could verse Ad in the second round. That's not out of the question, Tokes. That's not out of the
No, don't
question.
change it now after you got. Don't change
Listen,
it now.
I'm not a
got
big
you.
picture
I
guy, Tokes.
got
I
you.
focus on week to week on a
I
weekly
got
basis.
you.
I don't look at the big picture. I'm not a big picture guy. I focus on week to weeks. And what I see next week, you gotta handle Ad, Stonehands, Abu Hamza, which you should comfortably. But based off your playoff career, I can see you choking. And
Wait, you can see
I
me
was just thinking,
choking.
I
Uh,
thought,
you see that back there?
what? What is that? Mickey Mouse trophy that you got while
Mickey
you were
Mouse.
hurt and didn't even play? While you had
Huh.
EB? There's
That's a
no there's no EB to save you. There's no
that's a
EB to
story
save you
for
now,
another
buddy.
day.
There's no EB to
That's a
save you
story
now.
for another day, Hamada.
All right, listen, bro. As I was just saying, you got to shut them out. So like, why could you not be able to beat them? But as Tokir said, you wouldn't even have to play them. I think you have the harder road to the chip, having to play Doomy. And based on what I've seen so far, like I said earlier, there was no Nuh, no Yazen, and that makes a huge load of difference. When you strip away one of the
We
best
didn't
line,
have a Zeus.
when you strip, I think I made my case on that point. I think I made my case on that one. Now, when you strip away one of the best linebackers in the league in Nuh, you got to shuffle the defense around. And on a team like Amir, rookie captain, it's kind of hard for him to do that on the fly. An undeserved suspension got Nuh and Yazin taken out. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about how, you guys got a dub. Good for you, but that's the regular season, Tokes. Remember that. That is the regular season. And if what we've seen on the past, if history repeats itself, rookie quarterbacks like Amir, like Ad, usually are prone to having success in the postseason. People that are doubted. Now, I'm not doubting Gallery to Guardians like you. I'm doubting playoff Ad because I just don't believe in him simply because of that. He's one of the biggest busts in MFL history. He's like the next Jamarcus Russell. That's who he's like, the next Johnny Manziel. I'm sorry, like I can't. I want to, but I can't. But strictly looking at the talent, I listed it all out. I listed out Habib Ali's talent. I listed out Helaso Striva talent. I listed out Gallery of Guardians talent. I'm a man in I'm a believer in talent. What I see on the field, and as far as I'm concerned, Galleria Guardians got the most stacked defense in MFL history. And I'm sorry, defense wins championships. You know that, and I know that, and that's all I got about to say about that.
Look, I'm not sitting up here and saying Galleria doesn't have the best defense, but when it's playoffs, the road matters more than the team sometimes. So if you look at Amir's road, he would have to go and beat Sudani, which is a tough game in itself, and turn around the week after and play Halal Sprite. Look, that's a pretty tough road. And then you'd compare the road to Habibi Elite. You can say Habibi Elite have the easier first round matchup, right? They're playing Aid. And then Habibi Elite would go on to play Doomy, a guy who has 0 playoff wins. So whose road would you say is easier?
On
You'd
paper,
probably lean toward Habibi Elite.
on paper,
On paper.
but I'm an on the field type of guy.
Okay, Doomy has 0 career playoff wins. All right, so are you basically penciling in Habibi Elite to make it to the final?
He's got Ali Benny now.
Ali
He's
Benny?
back on.
Ali Benny?
Ali
I can't
Dion
even
Sanders
rely
Benny.
I can't even
Ali
rely on
Dion
Ali to make
Sanders
my
Benny.
I can't even rely on Ali to make my omelet correct. You expect him to be able to play cover 3 for a full 40 minutes and not be absolutely gassed out
Don't be
after having
disrespectful, folks. Don't be disrespectful.
disrespectful. I'm giving you the facts. The only thing Ali will be doing on the sidelines is making sure Doomy's hydrated and that Monty's shoes are tied, all right? So Ali's just there for cosmetics at this point. And look, Ali's like a Fortnite skin. Is good. He's just there to please. He's not there to actually contribute. All right.
Guys, I'm getting cooked in the chat. Mainly by Habibi elite players. Typical.
I
Nadim.
cooked you with the seating take. Now just take it like a good boy.
I'm not gonna lie. You made sense, and you're starting to persuade me a little. I'm starting to
No,
be tempted a little.
don't change your topic now,
I'm
Hamada.
not changing
Don't
it.
change your take.
I'm not changing it because I do believe that I don't know, Tokes. You laid out a pretty good case, Tokes. But I'm not going to be the first person to come on here on this live and backtrack on my take. I'm not going to do that. I grind the L22. I do it for a reason. But the aura on Gallery of Guardians, with the cameraman and all these, it's tempting me to go with them. But I know if they ran into us, hypothetically, they would have zero chance. I do understand that. And I know Doomy's playoff, his presence in the playoffs and his past history, you guys would have a better chance at being him. It kind of hurts me. It kind of stabs me in the back with my own take. But I'm going to lean on it because on this show, I want to be proven right. And so far, I've been proven right on Sudani. I've been proven right on Stonehands Abu Hamda. I'm going to be proven right again this weekend when you guys blow out Stonehands, when Galleria Guardians beats Mu'mineen, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Talk to us, chat.
All
This
right,
guy,
we'll take a couple chat
this
questions and
guy,
then me and Hamada will head
Azus
out.
says this guy acts like his game against us was a cakewalk. I'm sorry. Our quarterback was out for a majority of that game, so don't get me
Five
started on
minutes.
that.
5 minutes is majority?
Yeah,
Huh. Last time I
five
checked,
minutes.
it's
That's
not a
even 5
10-minute game.
touchdowns.
Last time I checked, it's not a 10-minute game. You got a free touchdown from Isakov. I was injured. I got ejected. Nadim got ejected. That's a Mickey dub in my book.
Mickey
It won't
Dub.
happen again.
Folks, I was coming off one of the worst sicknesses I've ever had in my life. Coming off of that mass camp where it was a germ factory in that cabin with those kids. They were slobbering and sliving all everywhere, and I was touching surfaces that I shouldn't have been touching, and they got me kind of sick. So going to that game, I was 1% of myself. So that game could have been worse than it could have been. But with a healthy Hamdama, I think you're gonna get a great halal sprite. But your backup QB scored a touchdown though. That just shows you the depth of our team. If our backup scored a touchdown, what do you think our starter is gonna do to you? Yeah, yeah, buddy, get cooked.
Listen, Hamada, Habibi Elite are not the team they were week 1 that they are now. Would you agree? Exactly. Look at you just said the quarterback is the one who'll take you far. So I'm pretty sure I trust a quarterback who has 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions and is on a 3 game winning streak and has won back to back players of the week, something that hasn't been done in over 3 seasons when Sudani did it a couple seasons back. So why wouldn't Habibi Elite go all the way? Now listen, I'm on Habibi Elite, so obviously I'm gonna be a little biased. But if we take all the bias
You know
out of
that.
it, Habibi Elite are the hottest team going in the playoffs. And look, I think this playoff weekend is gonna be one for the history books. And we
Hottest team,
we
my ass. I think we're 5-0 in games that matter, and in the
five and
game that
one,
we clowned around, putting me at
five and
quarterback,
one.
putting
When it
Omar
all
Ahmed at
mattered,
quarterback,
when it
putting Ben at
mattered
quarterback,
most,
putting
when it
Izakov at
mattered
quarterback.
most,
We basically beat a Doomy team with Yusuf Agha.
when it
We did all
mattered
that clowning and
most.
still
Look,
we're one
look,
catch, one sun in my
Hamada,
eye catch away from beating them. I'm
Hamada,
sorry.
let me
You're
tell
not
you
the hottest
something.
team in the league. That
When
belongs
it
to us,
mattered
the best
most,
team in the league.
Big O, or should I call him Small Egypt, had 2 chances to drive down the field and get a game-winning drive, and he throws a game-ending interception to Sammy Agha, and then the possession before on fourth down, he closes his eyes and throws a Hail Mary to you,
That was
and
a that was a
you
perfect throw. What are you talking
you
about?
you
Put
jumped,
in a bucket
dived
while
in
he was
the
coming through
air,
us
you
and launched a
jumped.
70-yard
Look,
bomb to
you
me. And
look,
unfortunately, the sun just didn't want me to catch it that day. But trust me, in the playoffs, I'm coming down with that catch. I'm coming down with that ball, and we're winning that game.
look. Big Egypt has shown me he can't go down the field and win you a close game. Sudani's shown me that. Big O's shown me that. I had shown me that. I had shown me he can go down and lead a game-winning drive. Doomy showed me he can go down and lead a game-winning drive, which he did after you got the pick six. Doomy was calm, cool, and collected and went down and led a game-winning drive. And Big O had 2 chances. Big Egypt, or should I call him Small Egypt, had 2 chances to go down the field. And what did he do? He pooped his pants. I saw some brown stuff going down his leg. You can call him Paul Pierce, the way he had a booty poop going down his back
You're
shorts and
done.
stuff, all
You're
right?
done. You're done.
Look, look, I don't trust Halal Sprite. And just know, next week, oh, I'll be unleashing on you guys. But that's a topic for next week. And before me and Hamada leave, guys, we do want to announce next week we will have the first ever IRL nightcap face to face going into Chip weekend. We don't know where the venue will be yet, but just know it'll be the most electric, historic nightcap known to mankind. And we're sorry we got this out to you Friday. Next week's episode will probably also be pretty late. Might be a Saturday episode, literally a night before the Chip. But all I can say is we appreciate you guys tuning in. Hamada, is there anything you got to say before we cap it off?
I just want to tell you, and I want to tell Doomy, starting with Doomy first. Yusuf Echa won't be there to save him in the playoffs, and at least Chris Jones Lararu won't be there to save your ass in the playoffs. Remember that.
Listen, Hamada, you like to talk a lot, and that's your mouth has gotten you in trouble recently.
Mm.
And so all I have to say to you is this: Habibi Elite, you're gonna cheat. I need a beat. It don't matter. Habibi Elite in 5.